to wake up every day and love what you do is truly a blessing, really.
It is a
Ready, ladies?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to roll.
RVA's leading social enterprise show. On the mic with Mike King Biz, delivering food for thought. To find out more about the dynamic host of On the Mic with Mike, please visit his website at mikekingbiz.com.
Hi, well, you know who I am. Make sure you check out my man, Mike King Biz. His program, On the Mic with Mike RVA, is the best business-ish radio program in RVA. Mike King Biz Radio can be heard on ESPN Richmond 106.1 and The Choice 105.3. Me and Mamie listen every day, and you should too.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Rich 106.1, as well as International Business Growth Radio, The Breeze with Bill Bevins and Bud Myers, Sundays 6 to 8 a.m. Alrighty, so I'm out there minding my business. My man Barry Moore and Angela Royce didn't say, hey, there's a group doing some amazing things. Alrighty, ladies, welcome to the program. Tell folks who you are and what you do.
Good morning. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having us here. We are the Pink Chair Project RVA with the Hawthorne Cancer Foundation at Johnston Willis Hospital. And what we do is we gift remote-controlled electric recliners to breast mastectomy patients, all patients, male, female, all ages. There's no financial qualifying. If you're scheduled to have a mastectomy, get a hold of us or go to the website, fill out the application, and we will follow up and schedule to deliver a recliner to you before the mastectomy is scheduled, so you've got some time to get adjusted. What happens, Mike, after we have a mastectomy and the muscles and the lymph nodes are removed, we're not able to lie down comfortably and get back up. We basically don't have much upper body strength. But in addition to that, after mastectomy, we've got drainage tubes down the side of our bodies draining after the surgical sites. And so it's really, you can't sleep. That's the bottom line. It's just really, really uncomfortable. And when I was going through my breast cancer surgery, I was amazed at how much the recliner I had made a difference in my life. I literally lived in it for at least 7 months. It made a huge, I couldn't, otherwise I don't know how I could have slept. I don't know how I could have even sat up comfortably. And the recliner we grant also helps patients kind of be able to stand up because, again, no upper body strength. And because it's remote controlled, it can't be a recliner with one of those levers or buttons on the side. There literally is virtually no upper body strength for several weeks. And so the recliner is a critical part of the rehab and caring, just feeling as if you are being held by someone. I think one of our chair recipients said it really well when we delivered the chair to her and it was set up, and she looked at me and she said, in my deepest, darkest moment, she said, why do I feel as if I won the lottery? I said, because that's how you have to feel.
Hold on a second. Now,
Yep.
wait, when you drop that, we got something for you.
Okay.
This is what plays. It's choir music. So in the deepest, it's something when you think about. You see the chair on TV. You know, you always hear the old man jokes about the Barco, recliner sitting back. You're talking about that had a big impact on your life. And when the chair shows up, it shows up before the surgery.
Correct.
And a person doesn't know what it's going to mean. They have no idea.
No, they don't.
Even when somebody tells them.
Correct. They really have no idea. However, it's that moment when we show up at the house with the recliner and we're setting it up and we're demonstrating and showing, and plus we have a bag full of all kinds of little items that the individual will need. Again, male or female, doesn't matter. And it's that feeling of someone cares. Someone is going to walk me through this process. Someone who's gone through this before and can tell me what to expect. As women, most women, and Mike, the vast majority of our chair recipients are females in their 30s and 40s with young children. And so they're focusing on they know they've got surgery scheduled, so they're focusing on their family. I need to have food in the freezer. I need to have my kids picked up from school and driven to soccer or whatever. They're not focusing on themselves. And then all of a sudden, the day is here. I've got to go in for surgery, and the woman is scrambling around and trying to put things together but she really doesn't know what to expect. And when I went through my journey, I had this moment of oh my gosh, and I can tell you a little bit more what happened in December of 2020. On December 23rd, to be exact, I had a routine annual mammogram appointment at Johnston Willis, and of course it was in the height of the pandemic. And I went in, came home, and then between Christmas and New Year's, I received a call from the radiologist, and he said, "We need to bring you back in." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, we see something." And I said, I actually gave the man pushback. I said, "I really think you have the wrong person." Imagine that. I said, "I really think you have the wrong person because I always self-examine and I have no lumps." He said, "No, Miss Carruthers," he said, "with this type of cancer, you would not have any lumps." I said, "Okay, help me out here because all my life I've heard, examine yourself if you feel a lump. So how is it possible to have breast cancer without any lumps?" And he explained that the cancer with tiny little little lumps, or lack of a better word, yes, little lumps in each single milk duct. So your breast has lines of milk ducts, boom, 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 boom. And he said, "We really need you to come in." And then he said to me something that really hit me. He said, if we didn't have the 3-dimensional mammogram machines, the new ones, he said, we would not have seen your breast cancer for another year or perhaps 2 years. And he said, at that point, we would be having a very different conversation.
One of the things I always talk about, so my wife went in for her breast, for the mammogram, and they said you get that call.
Right.
And that call is until you go back, it's a terrifying period. Mm-hmm. And I always say, who takes care of the caregivers? So, Dora, you're in the caregiving business. Mm-hmm. And I say, who takes care of the caregivers? Somebody has to stop. Somebody has to take care of the caregiver because the caregiver won't stop.
Correct.
Mom knows that she's going in for major surgery, and she's running around like a lunatic until she gets in the car to leave. Mm-hmm. Because she wants to make sure, not understanding that this world is going to be different when you come back here.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So coming through your journey, when did the light come on to say, I may be okay?
That was between Christmas and New Year's. I received the call, and then of course I got through New Year's. And the very first Monday, January 4th of 2021, I went in, and I was going through. There's a process at Johnston Willis Hospital at the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center. There's a process where you meet with the radiologist, the oncologist. I had a biopsy that day. I had an MRI. Oh my gosh, it's like a blur. And then I met with a nurse navigator, and she sat down with me and went over the type of cancer I have. And she also gave me a list of items that I would need. And at the very top of the list, she said, "We really recommend a recliner." And I looked at her, and I come from the insurance world. That's where my career, all my life. And so I looked at this list of items, and I thought, okay, out of the gate, we haven't even done anything yet. We're looking at least $2,000, at least, with every little thing that she's got on this list. So I said to her, okay, so who pays for this? She said, well, you do. I said, okay, I am at an age and in a place in my life that I could take time off from work, and I could go buy a recliner if I could find one. I said, however, what about the women in your waiting room, the ones out there that I've seen who are clearly in their 30s and 40s or maybe younger, and what about the ones out there who have babies with them? I mean, what do they do? How do you do all this? She said, I don't know. And I sat there thinking, okay, something's really wrong here. At that moment, I don't know why, Mike, but at that moment, it was as if God spoke to me and he said, you got to do this. You're going to be fine. It just came over me. I have no explanation. I can't. And I thought, okay, we've got to do this. And then I finally met with the surgeon, and I said to the surgeon, I see all these women out there, all so many ages. I said, so what's the youngest you've ever operated on? She said 17. I said, okay, there's something really, really wrong because most insurance companies will not pay for a mammogram before the age of 35 or 40. So why are we not requiring mammograms earlier if you operated on the 17-year-old? And she said, I don't have an answer for you. And I thought, okay, something's really wrong here. This is not right. And from that moment, Mike, from that moment, the God winks started because I went home and then I remembered that my daughter owns a recliner, but I couldn't remember if it was electric. I couldn't remember. And so I called her. She said, Mom, yes, it has a remote. I said, oh my gosh. So she and my son-in-law brought it over to me. And slowly, I started thinking, because pink chair is not an original idea. It's not my idea. As I sat in the recliner, then my other daughter brought me a weighted blanket, a pink weighted blanket, and that really felt like a big old hug. And I sat there with my laptop, and I started searching online. Cancer chair. I really didn't know what I was looking for, and pink chair popped up. And there are other pink chair organizations around the country. However, they work a little differently. Most of them, from what I've been able to see from the online presence, is they loan the recliner, then they take it back. However, we made the decision to just grant the recliner, keep it. And as I started, it was just a series of interesting things that happened when I started looking online, and I found this one pink chair in Connecticut. So I called the woman, and she and her daughter had had breast cancer at the same exact time, which motivated them to set up. Yes, this happens. And so they set up pink chair in a town in Connecticut. And then I kept looking, and when I visited the Hawthorne, because I am a patient at the Sarah Cannon, and I'm still a patient there at the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, I started looking online for the Hawthorne and Johnston Willis, and a picture of the board of directors pops up. And who's the chairman of the board? A gentleman I've known for over 15 years, John Clare. And I thought, John never told me. So I just picked up the phone and called John. And I said, John, here's my idea. He said, I love it. I said, you do? He said, I do. He said, come on in, talk to the board. And I said, okay. So after surgery, it took 6 months later, I went down to John's office. I met with the board, and they said, we love it. And I said, you do? They said, yes. And Steve Thornton was, it was just that, it was that
I
easy.
love her storytelling
But it was
stuff.
that easy. It was that easy. And I thought, okay, I have a very strong faith. And I believe when things fall into place,
They're fall into place for a reason.
right, they are for a reason. They are. And Steve Thornton, the executive director of Hawthorne, looked me right in the eye. He said, I love this idea. I said, okay, you really do. I didn't expect, I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this enthusiasm. I said, okay. And next thing I know, a lady at my church is a local artist,
Okay,
Theodore.
ma'am, one second. I say to people, when they say their church, that's not allowed here. You got to come in and say the name of your church. You got to give a church shout out. So we just had Passion Community Church in here yesterday. You got to give a church shout out. What's the name of your church?
Okay, Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Cathedral on Malvern Avenue in Richmond, Virginia. They're famous for their festival.
Oh, that's the church.
That's the church.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
what makes that church special? You didn't know you were coming here for this, did you?
No, I
No, you
didn't.
did not. What makes your church special?
What makes my church special is the community. It's Father Nick, our priest, who keeps us together. It's the wonderful people who are part of my family. Maybe not biologically, but we are a family, and we all care. And just to show you what they've done, one of the local artists, Theodora Miller, she developed the logo, and she said, this is great, I want to do this. The church chose Pink Chair as one of its charities this past June, and at the Greek Festival presented us with a check for $5,000. There are people in the church. I've got a presentation to the women of the church on October 15th with Dr. Jeff Weigel. I mean, just so much. They support, and so all I had to do was make a phone call, and next thing I know, I have a check for $1,000 from the church, and next thing, I mean, things just started
Magic
happening.
happened. That's because
Yes.
you were making things happen.
was
So
God.
Dory, you are here. Tell us your story, and you keep talking. I gotta let somebody in that I want to hear your story.
Okay. Very good. Okay, well, I'm here with Linda Carruthers. I don't know if she said her name when she was introducing herself, but Linda is the founder of the Pink Chair Project RVA here in Richmond. And I had the pleasure of meeting Linda because of what I do on a regular basis. So I work full-time as community liaison for Amada Senior Care, where we provide in-home care for seniors as well as placement assistance and long-term care insurance navigation. Well, in her regular 9 to 5, Linda owned long-term care consulting incorporated. So we were having lunch discussing matters between long-term care insurance and clients, and she said, hey, I want to tell you about this nonprofit that I started.
And when she tells you, you're like, this is crazy.
No, I'm like, this is amazing. I loved it. I come from the wedding world, so I owned an entertainment company for 13 years.
So you know how to make it bigger then.
So we did 200 events a year. I had a team of 10. We planned weddings and weddings and fundraisers. So I said, well, Linda, who's doing your fundraising?
And she said,
I am. And I said, well, let's
and
take
Carol
it.
Quinn
And
too.
Carol
Quinn. We have another colleague on who helps us, and she's also fundraiser. But the way everything fell together after I met with Dory, if you see our colleagues there, it's a distinguished panel of people that really God put together, because all of their talents, Mike, help us deliver chairs and these items that breast cancer patients need.
so ladies and gentlemen, on the Mike, the lady from Pink Chair Project, donating electric recliners to mastectomy patients.
Correct.
Right.
It doesn't get any better than this right here for my show. Who has the best radio show?
Mike King.
That's right. Because
I know the answer.
where else is somebody can hear this story?
Nowhere else.
Nowhere. I mean, this is crazy. But the idea of having an impact on people, like you're saying, you knew because you went through it what the meaning of having a chair was.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, person's going through, the woman's getting ready. She doesn't know what life is going to be like. She's worried about food in the fridge.
Right.
You know, who's going to take Johnny to soccer practice. And the whole family's world is going to be turned upside down.
Correct.
And like you said, younger people, when you're 30s, you're like, man. And that period. So the moral of the story is go get checked.
Go get checked.
That's the first thing.
The moral of the story is, yes, thank you, Mike, for reminding me. What I learned from my breast cancer journey by talking with my surgeon and others, number one, start your mammograms early. If your insurance company doesn't pay, just pay for it.
And we got places around that help with,
Right,
free mammograms. So
right.
we can put you in touch with groups out there to help make that happen.
Right. Get your. Do not skip a mammogram. Do not. Ever, ever, ever. Make sure the mammogram machine is 3-dimensional, not the old-fashioned kind. That is critically important. Find out if your breasts are dense. You've got to keep up with it. And we actually delivered a chair to a 65-year-old man who had absolutely, men. Do not think you cannot get breast cancer. When I spoke to this gentleman's wife, I said to him, how did you find the breast cancer? And she said it was really interesting. One night we were watching TV, and she said, I never do this. She just leaned back and put her head on his chest, and she said, I felt a rock. I said, oh my gosh. She said, I looked at him, I said, what is that? He said, oh, I must have pulled a muscle. I don't know, it's fine, it doesn't bother me. She said, no, very advanced, aggressive form of breast cancer. And so he was shocked. Please do not think
men can't.
Yes, you can.
Still have breast tissue. They just don't have breasts.
Right. But they can develop breast cancer, but they may have absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. Like this gentleman thought it was a muscle. And so what I've learned is pay attention to your breasts, male or female. Start early. My granddaughter's pediatrician has actually started. She's 17. My granddaughter is 17, and the pediatrician has actually started examining younger girls. You don't know. That's the moral to this. No, you
that
don't
is
know.
the moral of the story. All right, okay. Dory is saying we got to get to the front because you know what? I always say changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free.
No.
Money got to change hands. So we got to get to the money aspect of it. All righty. So let's talk about the fundraiser that you have.
Excellent. So I do parties. That's what I do. So we are having a huge fundraiser next Tuesday, October 10th, at River City Roll. That's located right at Myers and Broad, essentially. We are going to have the events going from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. For $100, you can have a group of 4 come and bowl, and that includes the games, the shoes, the food, and the drinks. So it's essentially $25 per person. All of the proceeds are going towards our cause. So all of the money goes to Pink Chair RVA. River City Roll, I want to give them a shout out.
They're great people.
They're great
Yes,
people. They
they
gave
are.
us
Shout
the
out to
building.
those guys.
Yes. So they're definitely one of our big event sponsors. We also are sponsored by Amada Senior Care.
Shout out to my man Jay.
Yes,
Well, like
Jay
I said,
Man.
Jay, what he put together and the idea that he had back, I don't know, 2015, 16, when I
Right.
met him, talking about this idea for senior care,
Mm-hmm.
and it's turned into that. So shout out and kudos to my man
Shout
for
out to
supporting
Jay.
this.
Right.
And then we've got Evo Advisors.
And Cavalier Mover, I've got to shout out for Cavalier Moving because they will pick up the chairs, they will store the chairs in their warehouse, they will deliver the chair, they will assemble the chair because the chairs are not assembled. They will assemble the chair. They will demonstrate the chair for the chair recipient. And one of us is usually there. We have a bag here with all kinds of pillows and things that a breast mastectomy patient will need. But without Cavalier Moving, we could not do what we do. I mean, they're amazing. So shout out to Cavalier.
Kudos to them as well. Alrighty, so that day, what else is going to be out? Do you guys have raffles and
Yep.
stuff like that?
We'll have raffles. We'll have a silent auction. The
I got
silent
something for
auction includes a beach house. Yeah, at Topsail Island. You've got something for us too, Mike?
I ain't got that. Did I say I had something? No, I meant that. Yeah, I do have something, but that's nice.
Isn't that sweet? That's Carol Quinn. God love her.
Yeah,
She's
God love her
she's
as
one
well.
of our other founders. So she's blessing the organization with a weekend stay at the beach house.
Alrighty. All right, so one last time, how can people find information about what you guys are doing?
Okay, you can go to pinkchairprojectrva.org. You can find us on Eventbrite. You can find it on Facebook. But we just want to make sure that you're there. So Tuesday, October 10th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at River City Roll. We've got tickets starting at $30 for a single person or a group of 4 players for $100. So, yep,
And
Pink
it-
Chair Project
It would be
RVA.
helple if you could register online beforehand, please.
That's right.
Yeah.
Explain.
Don't just think you're going to show up at the door trying to get in.
We don't. We want to. It does make it much easier if everyone would just register online and eliminate those backups at the door. With
Yes,
that
that's true.
happened to us last year. So please.
That's what
register
happens when
online.
you're popular. When you're out there doing something, now imagine if no one showed up.
Yeah, that'd be sad.
That's a problem. So congratulations on everything that you guys are doing. We're
Thank
here
you.
to help no matter, whatever it
you.
is we can do.
Thank you very
So
much.
on the mic, Mike, we do talk to the best and the brightest out there. These ladies are doing. That's a cool concept. I'm glad. Shout out to Angela Royston and my man Barry Moore
Yep.
for sending. Cool people know cool people.
That's
We-
true.
They do. And those are some cool people. All right, we got to go.
Thank you.
These ladies, they got stuff to do. They can't hang out with me all day. I'm here doing. Oh, the voice that you heard in the background, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Princess Mayor, radio personality, the human Rolodex, Anna Soden, who is coming up next. We got to go. See you.
That is so funny.
He has so many names for me, and I love them.
It's like-
They're all good.
They're all